Did you guys see this and all the drama following it? Apparently, this kid got suspended from school for doing this. I feel bad about this because, like, on one hand, it's extremely relevant to stuff I've talked about on stream before. On the other hand, I know perfectly well that people are going to use this to kind of, like, sort of, like, foment racial animus, which is not good. Reading ability among youth has declined in recent years, with scores hitting historic lows in national assessments. Because all the students being asked are black, you know, and I know people are going to be weird about that. It's not a racially specific thing. It's happening all across the country. But it's like, not good. Apparently the student who did this got suspended, which on one hand, is it because you're like blowing up your students on social media, or is it because you're bringing negative press to the school? You know?
Read the ending score for me.
She wore a suit, clothes that were...
It doesn't help that the statement they're being asked to read out loud is kind of gibberish. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary but somewhat gauche. A silhouette of clothes you wouldn't really say that. It doesn't really make sense. Like, you know what they're writing to say, but that's not really how you would write that. It's clunky at best. That being said, the problem that the students are having with reading it is not coming down to the inelegant use of the word silhouette. It's just that they can't read.
Who's this for? Extraordinary, but somewhat Gertrude?
Now explain what that means.
I don't know.
Oh! She wore a sahalat of clothes that were extraordinary, whatever, bro, but somewhat gooch.
What does that mean?
She wore a lot. Wait, she wore. Bro, I don't know, bro. Can you take the card back, please?
She wore a... Oh, baby. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were... Bitch, I don't know that word.
The sample's incoherent. Yeah, but it's not like they're easily gunning through the basic words in there either, you know? I'd also struggle to read this because we all write in cursive, not PC letters. I think this is pretty legible writing. I think this is pretty legible writing. It's actually, in my opinion, exceptionally legible. Like, I cannot write this cleanly. My hands shake. You all know that? Bit of lore? I have shaky hands. I always have. Well, I broke both my hands once. Did I break both my hands or just one? I honestly forget. I have shaky hands. Does not help me at the firing range. I can still get a 2-inch grouping at 15 yards with a pistol. That's... Considering the shaky hands thing, I think that's pretty okay.
I don't even know how to read. I don't know why I did.
She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary, but somewhat gauche.
All right, now what does that mean?
I have no idea.
Well, you
Lace or something like that.
She wore a. I don't know what this should say. I don't know what this should say. I don't know what this should say. I can't read it.
I feel like this would have went better if they just took a snippet from a New York Times article. Yeah, it does feel like a shitty gotcha from the person doing the interview, but also it's worth pointing out, like, let's identify the real fault here. The school fucked these kids. Like, this is not acceptable. Which, in my opinion, is why the student got suspended. You know, it's very, yeah.
Read it. Can't read it. Cancel back.
It's really bad, man. It's really fucking bad. Gauche is a word I've never really heard in writing. Well, that's why I say it's a bit of a gotcha. I would not at all be like annoyed. If my kid was in high school and I asked them to tell me what gauche meant, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't know. It's kind of a specific word, and it's also not used much these days. And also, you can't really figure out what it means in context because the sentence is so short and like kind of clunky. But obviously, like, the struggle with literacy here goes beyond just the word gauche or silhouette. It's like they're struggling to read in general. We've all been in school and had that one kid who was picked for reading out loud and just could not do it. It's very sad. I mean, when I was a kid, I always thought, like, oh, it's annoying, now we're going to be here forever. But now in retrospect, I just feel really bad for them. One of the biggest buffs that you can get growing up is something that's almost impossible to empirically measure, which is how good your parents are. My parents had me read and read to me all the time. And as a consequence, well, I joke that I'm not really literate, but I'm pretty literate. I like, if you grow up and no one's reading to you, again, a lot of people think that speaking is enough, But it's really important to remember speaking and hearing are innate to our brains. The human brain is hardwired to understand and process speech. Obviously, we didn't have, like complex language 100,000 years ago, but even the Neanderthals were communicating vocally. Writing and reading are not even a little bit hard-coded. There is nothing in our brains that's like optimized for understanding writing, which is why it's such a miracle that once you get good at it, you can like gun through that stuff. You can read through a page in a book really quick. You are taking abstract symbols and stringing them together in an infinite series of potential combinations. Your understanding of writing is so nuanced that you can look at a new sentence, a new string of codes, and understand what it means. You can get so good at reading that you can read a severely misspelled sentence and still know what it means based on context clues. That's a fucking miracle. But our brains are not coded to do that innately. All of that is just learning. All of that is the neuroplasticity that we have innately, but especially when we're very young. So when you are very young, you really want to be learning how to read, You want to be like day one, buddy. I mean, read to your fucking zygotes or something. I don't know. Read when they're still in the belly. 3 to 4. If I had a kid, I'd be reading to them like from 6 months in, I think. I would want them to get used to hearing speech that wasn't from me colloquially. Like the way I speak interpersonally is different from me reading text from a book, right? It's like a different way of expressing yourself. So I would want to get them on that like as soon as possible. You really fuck your kids up if you can't read to them. And I'm not, well, okay, I kind of am blaming the parents here because I'm just gonna guess, and pardon a white boy for being the guessler here. Gonna guess this is probably a relatively low income school. Parents are probably a bit busy with work. And I understand that. And systemically, we've failed here to a large extent. But man, if I was a parent and my kids were like this in high school, I would not feel like I did them a good service, Autocomplete will do this. I do think that autocomplete is probably bad for our literacy in the abstract, but you really need to engage with writing and reading outside of what your phone or computer does for you, Also, worth noting that literacy and knowing how to spell are two overlapping but not perfectly identical concepts. You can have a very poor understanding of how to spell and pronounce, but still be very literate. I often mispronounce words because I read them before I hear them spoken. And if a person does a lot of like speaking and hearing, but not a lot of reading, it's possible they have a great vocabulary, but don't really know how it's spelled. Those are more technical skills than they are communicative skills. Still good to know, but yeah, different part of the brain. Sister and I went to a relatively well-funded public school, and she told me a lot of kids at school can't really read. This story is being told by like every teacher everywhere in America. It's really not just like poor, largely black student schools or whatever. Like it actually is happening pretty much everywhere, and a lot of it is the parents haven't read to them, and a lot of it is the dang phones, and a lot of it is no one fucking believes in the value of being educated anymore. So there's no point. Link that example. How'd you link an example from a super chat? I'll have to read that when I get to donos. They also skip class constantly. Well, yeah, like people don't really believe in the value of education. People kind of think the whole thing's a rigged game now, which it is, but you still have to try, right? Yeah, people are apathetic. They're like, well, what's the point, You only get a job via connections. It's not like we're going to have stable employment either way, which is true, but it's still good to know how to read. Also valuable to learn more than one language. Yeah, for sure. I only know English, which it's not good. You should try to know more than one language if you can. Europeans almost always do. Everyone laughs at being educated. Yeah, I mean, if you don't know how to read well, it's extremely easy to take advantage of you. Yeah, how are you ever going to sign a contract, man? It's like all those veterans coming back and getting 31% APR car loans for 18 years on their new fucking F-150. Chevy Tahoe. No one reads contracts anyway. That's true, but you still want to be able to read, like, the bullet points. Google Cambridge reading test. Do I want to? Free online IELTS reading test collection. Is that what you're referring to? Are you suggesting that I take the test? I don't know if that'd be a good use of my stream time. Oh yeah, this is a whole lot of information. Are you suggesting I take the test to humiliate myself in front of my audience, or are you suggesting that I look at what the test is so that I can blackpill myself and how low the standards are? Please? I don't even know what it is. Look at how many fucking buttons there are here, man. I don't know what the hell any of this is. Look at this. What is IELTS? I don't know. Is this meant for college students, high school students, middle school students? What age am I meant to be? Like, to take these? Click 1. Sure. They're calling it the most pre-watched, pre-chosen non-choice of all time. A Fjallraven Vardog Buffalo 30, Filson Medium Rugged Twill Duffel Bag, Columbia Unisex Convet. We're in my fucking field. I don't even know how to read. I'm rotating the products in my mind. I've been to the goddamn Filson, what do they call it? The main store? What do they call that again? Main store? The REI Landmark store? No, what do they call that? Flagship, thank you. Okay, what am I doing? Look at the 6 reviews of gym bags. For which gym bag is the following statement true? Write the correct... No, this is boring. There's a lot of reading here, and I have to read it out loud, too, for chat to follow along. I will say, though, that this looks pretty simple. Okay, what age are you supposed to be when you do this? Maybe I can do this during, like, a less busy stream. Senior in high school? Okay, how about this? How about we revisit this sometime in the future so that you all can laugh at me? How about that? Do it while drunk? So you can pre-read. Yeah, memorize every single one of the practice tests here. Yeah. It's for immigration. Kind of a biased test then, right? I mean, I immigrated to America at 0 when my mom popped me out or whatever.